You were at the peaceful protest today. What was the message those gathered wanted to get out there?
Well, the message they wanted to convey was they're all loyal and faithful Australians, but they think the government has let them down. It's failed to control anti-Semitism. It's failed to recognise it as a problem. It's failed to take steps to address it. And it's been too late in many of its responses. But I think the thing that struck me about this rally was it bore malice to no one. It wasn't, burning any other country's flag or seeking to demonise any other community of Australians. It was just saying, we are Australians, we are proud Australians, we are also Jewish Australians, and we want to have the same civil and political rights and our security and safety protected as any other Australian is entitled to expect.
Yeah, I must say, Senator, I've been to pro-Palestinian rallies and I've also been to gatherings of the Jewish community, and the difference is chalk and cheese, day and night, and obvious to any fair-minded person. Last week, while visiting Sydney's Holocaust Museum, the Prime Minister claimed he knew nothing about a UN vote later that night where his government would betray Jews by insisting on the immediate ceasefire with Hamas, even before Jewish hostages have been released. Here's the exchange.
Are you ruling out a change of position over tomorrow's UN vote?
I'm not sure what tomorrow's UN vote is. There are UN votes all the time.
Now, there's only two options here. Either Anthony Albanese is the most duplicitous leader of this country in a long time, or he really didn't know about the vote, in which case he's the most incompetent. I know what I think. Senator, I'm interested in your thoughts.
Well, I find it staggering that he wouldn't know about this. I mean, during my time in government, in the public service, in the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, as an ambassador to Israel, any vote like this at the UN of this level of sensitivity involves not only the foreign minister, it always involves the prime minister, and often it will involve the cabinet as well, or at least the National Security Committee cabinet. Now, Anthony Albanese may well not have known, because in so many other respects of this government, he doesn't seem to have control of the agenda. He seems to be a passenger, not a driver, despite being the Prime Minister. And under his watch, Penny Wong has overturned decades of bipartisanship, shredded our bilateral relationship with Israel, overturned a close relationship with the United States at the UN on this issue. I think it seems to me that he's just hapless when it comes to these issues. He doesn't know what's going on. He's not well briefed. He lets his ministers run off and do things, and then he's surprised when it all blows up in his face and he gets a reaction about it.
Yeah, he's either never there or doesn't care, and I suspect it's a bit of both at this point, Dave Sharma. Look, let's move on, because the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, has labelled the Coalition's nuclear plan and costings as economic insanity. Here he was on Sky News this morning.
So this will be one of the choices that people face when they go into the ballot box next year, between Labor's plan for a future powered by renewables and firmed by gas, relying on storage and hydro, versus this economic insanity and slapstick comedy with serious consequences for upward pressure on bills, which has been presented by Peter Dutton and Angus Taylor.
Dave Sharma, clearly Labor is unwilling to have a mature debate about energy policy in this country. But why do you think Labor is so scared to even have the conversation about nuclear, which is, of course, powering major countries around the world? Why not here in Australia?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, what does Labor know that France doesn't, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Korea, Japan, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, all of these countries are investing in new nuclear power assets and new nuclear power generation, because they realise it's the only way to get reliable, affordable power if you're lessening your dependence on fossil fuels and if you want to reduce emissions. Now, I don't understand why this Labor government, Chris Bowen, Jim Chalmers, Anthony Albanese, think they know better than anyone else around the world. Think that a country which has some of the largest uranium reserves in the world, in Australia, shouldn't be allowed to use it for power, but every other country in the world is going gangbusters doing just this. It speaks to their deep ideological aversion, which dates back several decades, to anything with the word nuclear in it. But as Peter Dutton has pointed out many times, we are buying nuclear-powered submarines. We have a nuclear reactor at Lucas Heights for medical research purposes. There is no reason we should not have clean, zero-emissions nuclear power in the Australian electricity grid.
Yeah, absolutely.